Hi guys, I hope you're having an amazing start to your week. In this video, I'm going to be doing some love notes from your person. This is going to be a message cards only reading, and there are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Mahogany Obsidian. Group 2 is the Ammonite. And group 3 is the Bloodstone. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Mahogany Obsidian. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? So we have a reunion is on the way. So if you've been in no contact with your person, they are wanting to reach out, offer some amends, some apology, some explanation for their distance. If this is somebody that ghosted you or cut things off very abruptly or without explanation, it feels like they want to come through in a softer energy. All this pink in the background here kind of speaks to heart chakra and a sense of knowing that they need to kind of put in some effort so that you can warm up to them. You might have gone through several experiences of back and forth, or they're just seeing you as the type of person that, you know, every time they've like disconnected or they've taken a step away, or, you know, this could even apply to like other things or other people in your life. You're not the type that just sort of waits around and stagnates. You're always on the go. You're always on the move. You're always up leveling. Even if you've been kind of in a bit of despair, a bit of sadness, working through some grief and heartbreak, there's a sense of your bravery, your willingness to face these difficult emotions or face your shadow, even if they're not consciously aware of kind of how you're doing that or what you're doing. They're sensing that you are like unreachable energetically, or maybe even actually you've made some changes in your reality that they can't just come in through the same door that they exited your life from. So this is somebody, it feels like, that is getting in touch with their softer side, their feminine side, trying to come up with something that isn't just coming back in all nonchalant, you know, pretending that nothing happened, but there's a sense of like a sweet gesture or some degree of like honesty or emotional vulnerability that they're trying to cultivate within themselves in order for you to take them seriously when they reach out and try to get that conversation going again. We also have the universe has our next move. So this person could have been praying for guidance, asking for signs and synchronicities that encourage them what to do in this situation, especially if it was kind of messy, how they cut off contact before. There's a sense of like, I don't know if I should move towards you. I don't know if it would be right to reach out. I don't know if you'd even hear me out, or if this is something where I'll just be given a taste of my own medicine, where I've missed an opportunity with you, a window of opportunity is closed, or if I've created so much hurt within you that it's unlikely you'd hear me out. It's unlikely you'd give me another chance, another shot to make things right, to have a do-over, or to kind of mend the broken pieces between the two of you and move forward in a more conscientious and more loving way. And so it feels like they've been asking for those prayers, asking for those signs and synchronicities, and they've been getting a lot of confirmation that is very explicit as far as like, yes, reach out, make the effort, at least try and put yourself out there, try and, state your case or speak your piece or something like that. But it feels like they're not being given any sort of guarantee or indicator as far as if that will be successful, if there's a chance to reconcile or reunite. But it's very crucial for where they're at in their journey, the lesson that is to be learned out of this circumstance between the two of you, or maybe even something that is kind of owed to you in terms of an energetic balancing of the scales for where you're at in your journey. That, you have free will. You can either give this person another chance, or you can hear what they have to say and sort of continue to move forward with your life. But there's a lot of pressure that they're experiencing from the subtle realms to try and make this right, to try and create a different sort of future between the two of you, but that there is kind of a test that they are being given at this point. Without the certainty of success, are you willing to do what it takes to kind of fight through those fears of rejection, fears of being humbled in some way, or, just being rejected in the pride and ego are further wounded within this person? Like, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to put yourself out there because of the possible reward that there can be something beautiful between the two of you? There can be a next chapter that is written together rather than something where your roads are kind of diverging from one another in a permanent sense. We also have raising spiritual awareness. So it feels like this person has been in seclusion, they've been in hiding, they've been in isolation, maybe due to a lot of other things going on in their life, but it feels like they've also been avoiding the elephant in the room as far as you are concerned, especially if it's something where things were going really well and then they pulled a 180 and kind of backed off or cut off communication altogether, left a lot of confusion and heartbreak, left you wondering, like, what did I say? What did I do? What could I have done better or different in this situation? That it's like they're having a hard time facing you, owning up to the fact that for a lot of people, this is somebody that just got scared by how they were feeling. They were scared by the intensity between the two of you. They were scared of that bond. They were scared of the unknown. And rather than kind of holding in place or, opening up and confiding in you about this, or, just sort of trusting that sometimes when we are stepping into the experience of something that's really good for us, it's going to trigger all of those wounds and that expectation that things will be really bad. And so there's a sense that they have now kind of started to take a bird's eye perspective on the situation, that it wasn't that there were all these red flags that were cautioning them about this circumstance, but this is somebody that is actually maybe afraid of wish fulfillment, afraid of getting what they want in life and in love, because they have been so used to the opposite of that. So you have provided them with an experience up to now that for a lot of them, they might have thought this is too good to be true, or this isn't going to last, or this is moving too quickly and I don't see how it could be anything sort of like stable. Like, we haven't taken the time to build this steady foundation between the two of us. Feelings came on really strong. It feels very magical, the experience between us. It feels like exactly what I have been looking for, exactly what I've been needing and wanting. And rather than kind of just going with the flow with that, they gave into that energy of fear. And so for a lot of people, they've been raising that conscious awareness of that it was nothing that you did wrong. It was nothing that this situation was like cautioning them about in terms of moving in the opposite direction, but that they have been essentially controlled by their wounds or disappointments in previous experiences in love, and that they've self-sabotaged in this situation. So this person may come forth to you, not just with kind of a dry apology, but something where they start to open up and discuss some things about their past, about their fears in relationships and in love or in life in general, something that gives you a peek into their inner workings, or helps you to understand that this person may be making the effort to mature emotionally or become more self-aware, which it feels like could be part of like the olive branch or the apology that they're getting ready to offer. Not just let's pretend that nothing has happened, but, you know, I've been using this time apart very seriously. Even if I've been, you know, sort of avoiding you or hiding out a little bit, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. There's been a lot that I've been thinking about, processing, researching, and discovering about myself, and the ways in which what you are offering or who you are as a person, it's like everything that I wanted. And I wasn't aware that there was a part of me that didn't really believe that I was deserving of such a beautiful experience, or deserving of someone that would be patient with me, deserving of someone that would see this version of me and could still kind of hold space for the reality of who I am, as well as focus on kind of the understanding of who I can become, or who I'm trying to evolve into as a person as well. Yeah, and we also have, I am overcoming my fears. So this person is very afraid that you will reject them, that they've like missed an opportunity with you, they've messed up, and that there's no coming back from this. This can be somebody that was used to very conditional love, kind of like everything's good as long as you're, you know, performing, as long as you're meeting my requirements and needs as far as other partners are concerned. But the minute there's pushback, there's a minute they're not so agreeable, or they don't just go with the flow. They may be used to, you know, this could be part of their upbringing or just previous romances, that all of a sudden, you know, all that love goes cold. All of a sudden the other face of the partner is seen, and they start to question and doubt, were they ever in this, you know, with another person, or just kind of in love with an idea or an image? And so they're afraid of like history repeating itself with you as what has happened in like other circumstances. There's a sense of feeling like I've messed up, even if it was just a matter of like they've become inconsistent with their communications. Might be a lot of inner child wounding here, of sort of like, I've done something bad, I've done something wrong, I let my fears get the best of me. And so for some, they may even be trying to come up with like an over-the-top kind of apology, something that may seem kind of performative, but it doesn't feel like it's coming through in order to like manipulate you. That might even be something that kind of gives you a peek into the person's foundation, like within their psyche almost, sort of like, you know, if they had a narcissistic parent, for example, and it was like, okay, you're only shown positive reinforcement or love and attention and affection as long as you're fitting into the description of what I want, what I tell you that you should be as a person. You know, in the minute that you kind of step away from that, or, you know, kind of break from the herd in some kind of way, then there's punishment associated with that, or coldness, or, you know, love being withheld in some kind of manner. They may have done such introspection and soul searching that they can like talk to you about these things, or share some of these things. Like in the time apart, I've taken some time to look within, and I see where this is coming from. I see that this is kind of like how things in my childhood played out, or other relationships play out, like a level of honesty that they're trying to give to you, or they're thinking about giving to you. Not to sort of, you know, give them kind of open season to just sort of do whatever. But in a way, this is almost somebody that wants you to kind of see where they're coming from, or have the opportunity to kind of see things from their perspective, so that you won't judge them as harshly. So you can maybe be patient with them as they're trying to like unlearn old ways. Or again, if that kind of default programming is like, okay, I've done something to upset the person I have affection for, or that I've got love for, or that I'm in some kind of connection with, the only way historically that I've been allowed to sort of come back in, that my flaws as a human have been accepted, is if I make some kind of grand gesture. If, you know, it's not just a dozen roses, but it's like 100 red roses delivered to your doorstep. You know, it's like over the top in terms of those apologies, where this would almost be something that they haven't done anything that's like really unforgivable, or anything that would require like a grand gesture. But again, it might just be somebody that, you know, went kind of silent, ducked out for a little bit, and there's a sense of like coming back in. You're going to see that this is somebody that their love language might also be kind of like gestures of affection. And so the nature of what they present, what they provide, that is, it's coming forth almost laced with that energy of fear, feeling that you might not accept even kind of the greatest effort on their part, but you're going to get a glimpse, it feels like, of kind of the lengths that they will go to in order to try and compensate for those kind of parts within them, those wounded parts within that might be very impulsive, maybe very kind of apt to run, almost like, you know, pushing someone away before they themselves can be abandoned or discarded. That might give you a greater perspective as far as like where they are kind of emotionally, and then that'll determine like if you want to stay the course with this person, if you want to try to work through things with this person, or if it's something where you just feel like, hey, you got a lot of damage inside and this isn't really aligned with the type of damage I have inside, and so it's not really worth my while, or it's not really in my highest interest to continue to try and find a way forward with you. It's like they're anticipating the worst but kind of hoping for the best with you. We also have, I'm clearing past life traumas. Yeah, so this is the energy again of somebody who has done some reflection, done some soul searching, and they've come to a very uncomfortable truth that what has happened between the two of you is somehow a ripple effect of like other circumstances that have played out in their life. Things from childhood that have popped up. They're almost like treating you like an emotionally unavailable, or like a narcissistic parent would have treated them. They've treated you like the emotionally unavailable or the narcissistic partner that came before you treated them. And it feels like it's a sickening feeling that they have as far as that's concerned. Like I've become everything that I swore I never wanted to be. I've become like those people that have disappointed or hurt me. And so it feels like they're wanting to take a step towards you, almost with that level of honesty of kind of like, this is as much as I've been able to kind of accomplish in our time apart. I've created some sort of self-awareness. I faced some sort of uncomfortable truths. And maybe it's even that you're more, you know, they consider you to be more emotionally advanced, or, you know, maybe you know more about human psychology, or, you know, your own kind of like healing or personal growth journey. There may be things about you where they're almost coming towards you, it feels like, with the energy of like, can you share some of that wisdom? Can you help me through this process of trying to unlearn old ways? Can you be patient with me as I'm trying to become a version of myself that can receive the love that you have to give and not be frightened that it comes with conditions, and also is able to give to you consistently, and in a manner that shows you like effort is being put in to kind of transcend those more difficult aspects within self, or, you know, wounds left behind by previous experiences. We also have, I'm trying to become stable. Yeah, so this is somebody who still is kind of gripped by fear, and they understand that to come forth in that chaotic kind of energy, it's just going to push you away. It's just going to cause you to put up your boundaries, put up your walls. So it feels like this is somebody that is intent on kind of keeping their distance until they can come to you correct, or until they've, you know, kind of created that grand gesture, or even just a very, the grand gesture can be like an open and honest discussion. Things where they are talking about feelings, or they're holding space for you to vent the full nature of your feelings without shutting down, without getting defensive, you know, without kind of internalizing a lot of that. Because there's a sense of like, we need to feel into those hurt feelings. We need to have that difficult conversation in order for there to be a fighting chance of this situation, this romance, this potential between the two of us moving through this difficult period, or, you know, this upsetting experience that we've had, or that I've shown to you through my actions and behaviors, so that we can try again. We can build from this place. We can become stronger, rather than letting this kind of separation become permanent. And they also say, I like you. I hope you feel the same way about me. So they see that you are a very valuable person in their life. You're a very positive influence. You're somebody that they have kind of put on a pedestal, maybe even because of like experiences that you've had in your life, wounds, disappointments. You know, you might have had a very difficult life, but you carry that pain with grace. You did not become embittered or shut down. As far as they're seeing you, you did not become like the people that hurt you or disappointed you, even if they don't have a lot of like actual facts or or information about what took place in your past, there's a sense that they can see within you that you've been through some pain and you didn't let that stop you. And so they're almost looking to you as like a role model in a sense, in terms of like, help me to find a different way to hold on to these negative experiences I've had, so they don't keep surfacing and sabotaging good things. But it's a fine line between sort of coming to you with the energy of like, I want to work things out, and coming to you in the energy of almost neediness or asking for help in some kind of way to work through things. There's a sense that they don't want that power dynamic to come through as like teacher and a student. They want to come as like your equal, but they're still a work in progress. And so they're looking towards you as like an example, as an inspiration, ways in which to kind of create a space for those disappointments, those fears, and those wounds within, and still be able to kind of approach the idea of love with an open heart and with the expectation that history doesn't need to repeat itself, and patterns can be broken and are broken every day in loving connections. We also have, I surrender my heart to you. Yeah, so this person wants to get back into the flow state with you, wants to synchronize, wants to harmonize. They don't like the distance. They don't like how they've handled the situation before. They don't like the fact that they've created confusion and heartbreak and pain for you, because they're seeing that you only came forth to them with honesty, with the best of intentions. So this is somebody that wants to work it out. I'm hearing, I'll do whatever it takes. So they're maybe anticipating that it could be a long road to getting back to a place where you're good with one another, you're comfortable with one another. But this is somebody that doesn't want to give up without a fight. They don't just want to kind of leave this as like a messy experience or a hurtful experience in both of your lives, but they want to see if there's a chance, can we move forward from this? And they also say, I am in love with you. You are my other half. So they see you as like the love you give, the energy that you possess inside of yourself, how they feel when they're in your presence. This is like medicine to their soul. They've had experiences with you that could have been very overwhelming for them before, of like, you know, I feel that the heaviness I hold within, or certain beliefs about love and partnership, you're rewriting all of that within them. And this is almost somebody that maybe wasn't quite aware of how married to their pain that they were before. And it's a sense of like, in your presence, they're brought beyond that threshold of like, you don't have to hold on to that disappointment, you don't have to hold on to that hurt. The past experiences you had of people like dangling love in front of you like a carrot and then pulling it away when things don't go according to like one person's plan exclusively, that doesn't have to play out here. So you've shown this person love and affection in the form of freedom and liberation. They've had a taste of it. They are now seeing kind of what the opposite is. They've been left with kind of enchained or bound to those wounds within. And there's a sense of like, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live away from you. I don't want to live in this energy where I'm loyal to my pain. I'm loyal to that fear, and I'm running away from a good thing. I want to do what it takes in order to soften my stance, in order to strengthen my resolve to face you, face the love you have to give, who you are, and who we can become together, and rise to the occasion, rise into love, rather than allow kind of this circumstance or the potential to continue to fall apart. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got M, I, H, P, F, S, I, Z, O, P, M, T, and S. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link for that in the bio. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Ammonite. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? Okay, and we have, I am the chaser. I am the moth to your flame. So your person is really attracted to you at this point in time. They find everything about you very pleasing. It feels like this is somebody who is rehearsing, kind of letting you know how much you mean to them, plans that they have as far as like future potentials between the two of you. They're ready to open up the lines of communication to talk about like long-term possibilities, maybe intentions that they've kind of kept to themselves. They played their cards very close to the chest, and it's a sense of like, okay, I'm ready to have that discussion. I'm ready to talk about the what ifs. I'm ready to start, shifting the way that our conversations occur, where it's just me and you, into the energy of us. The more that this person gets to know about you, even things about you that you might not like about yourself, things that you look at as quirks or flaws, they find these things to be so endearing, adorable, cute, or just very desirable. And so this is something where they don't just like kind of the put together version of you. They don't just like the perfect version or when things are going well. This is somebody that wants you when, you're moody. This is somebody that wants you when you don't have all the answers. You don't have everything figured out. This is somebody that wants you, when you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or afraid. All of that, it fits in very well with kind of the sense of like, okay, I can hold space for these parts of you, these more kind of shadowy or difficult aspects of who you are, or maybe what's going on in your life right now. And there may actually be qualities within this person or skills that they have that they can bring to the table that's like, they're not trying to like take your power away or make you feel like helpless in any sort of way, but they may be like, I think I can help you with that. I think I can fix that. I think I've got a solution. I think that we can work through this together, or I can help you to kind of reframe the way that you're thinking about yourself or thinking about other things. So this is somebody that feels like that's wanting to take on a greater like support role for you. Because again, this is like, they don't just like you when everything's going well. They like those vulnerabilities about you because it almost makes them feel very useful, very handy, and very like, okay, this is a person that can, take care of themselves. They can hold their own. But now I see that there's a place within this connection or within who they are as a person that aspects about me, there's value that can be found there. We're stronger together than apart. They're wanting to help uplift you in some sort of way because you just radiating in your natural energy, it's helping them to feel even that aspects and qualities about them that have been difficult to deal with or to understand or accept fully. You've held space for these things, or you've demonstrated that you're on board with this person in good times and bad. When the days are sunny and when the days are rainy, you're holding it down with them. And so this is somebody that wants to reciprocate that in kind. They find it very attractive, all these kind of multifaceted aspects about you. We also have, I am purging. So it feels like this person is clearing out certain connections, certain belief systems, certain habits, mindsets, lifestyle choices that had been limiting their success or had been making them feel kind of like low vibrational. Either they've been inspired by how you live your life and choices that you've made or things that you focus on or that you're involved with, that there's a sense of like, I want to get on board with that too. I want to create that equal playing field between the two of us, or you've convinced me without, trying to kind of minister in that capacity, but you've convinced me just through, you know, how you're living your life and the very obvious kind of results of that, to start to explore things outside of the norm, outside of the status quo, outside of the box, to start to embrace things that might not have been what they gravitated towards naturally, or what they'd been kind of, you know, putting off to tomorrow, like New Year's resolutions that they'd make, and then by the second week in January they're like, okay, well that didn't work, so maybe next year I'll try, maybe next year it'll be different, maybe next year I'll be successful. You're like encouraging this person to, you know, not wait for some kind of future point in time in order to kind of generate things more positive for themselves. And it feels like this is all in the interest of kind of becoming a better version of themselves, but it feels like they're also making adjustments behind the scenes, or even just opening their mind, opening their energy, opening their heart up, to be able to embrace more completely who you are as a person, and kind of the influence, the attitude, and the vibration that you can bring into their life, and that you already have brought into their life. We also have, I want to contact you. So it feels like this person is really valuing the conversations that you have with one another. Even if you kind of like, you go off on tangents, or you get very impassioned about things that are important to you, or, you know, that are going on in your life, even if you've kind of vented to this person about difficulties, you know, or you've shared things about kind of who you are now, and kind of the road or the path that sort of you had to walk, or crawl on, or sort of pave for yourself in order to come into this version. This person finds that very inspiring. Your words, the sound of your voice, it activates something within them that helps them to start to kind of look at their own life and not see things as like totally closed off pathways, or, you know, goals and dreams that are out of reach, like horizons that are too far away, too impossible to navigate towards, that either they've been just taking like a lazy approach, or they've just kind of kept that as like, well, that's unrealistic, that can't happen, I'm too old, it's too late, I've had too many setbacks, you know, I made bad choices, and so these things feel impossible. You're starting to help this person to see that putting in the effort towards things, there's a reciprocity from the universe. Putting in an effort toward creating a life that one feels comfortable living, even if it doesn't make sense to others, that's kind of the key to success. That's the key to joy. That abundance starts from within. And so there's a sense of they want more conversations with you. They love the way that your mind works, or that you look at the world, or, you know, the way in which you kind of make plans for the future, and you're very methodical and how you carry those plans out. And so it's helping them to start to look at obstacles not as insurmountable in their life, but mountains that they truly have the ability to move. You've really inspired this person. They also say, I'm more spiritual because of you. So you've turned this person on to new concepts, new practices that they might have had certain like beliefs about before, or just knew nothing about at all before. There could have even been some fear associated with certain things, and you've helped to dispel those fears. You've helped to bring it down to earth, or make it more relatable in a certain way. And so this is somebody who's becoming more aware of themselves as like a sentient spiritual being having a human experience. This could be somebody that's going through like a spiritual awakening or an ascension right now. And even if they've not told you about that, or they haven't dropped any hints, you seem to be the person in their life who could understand what they're going through, understand where they're coming from, or even if you didn't understand completely, because a lot of what may be happening, they're struggling to find answers. That's part of that path. That's part of that process, is kind of, you know, seeking answers, using discernment, listening to that inner voice, and kind of creating sort of a patchwork truth based on all these things. You're somebody that is able to kind of remain relevant in their life, or that they're perceiving as like a good influence, or like a force for good, as they're going through this process of like up leveling, raising their vibration, making healthier choices, not just in a mundane sense, but in terms of maybe even loosening the grip of certain oppressive ideas or belief systems that they were entrained with since they were a child, or that might be more kind of popular or well accepted, and kind of thinking outside of the box, a little bit left of the dial, things that maybe people in their life might consider strange or weird or woo-woo, and there's a sense of like they've been very quiet, they've been in the closet about those things, but with you, there's almost like there's a safe space. You're somebody that would understand, or a lot of these practices and beliefs, they were already part of your wheelhouse prior to meeting this person, to where you've really kind of turned them on to a different way of living, a different way of viewing reality, or one's role within it. And so this is somebody that's like expanding their auric field. They're drawn to you because they're seeing that you're on this like similar vibration, that it may be kind of different things that are resonating, different practices for each of you, but you're coming to that same place of kind of oneness within self, and really starting to prioritize kind of bigger picture things rather than just sort of little immediate kind of dopamine hits, and more kind of materialistic versions of success. They also say, I keep seeing 1111 everywhere. So yeah, they could be getting a lot of signs and synchronicities related to you, related to this connection, but they're also really starting to feel that you've come into each other's lives for a bigger purpose. It's the idea of like God put you together, or there's destiny at play, or it was inevitable that you would encounter one another. This person may be exploring the idea of past lives, and it's helping to explain some sense of familiarity or feeling very comfortable with you very immediately, in a way that this may be somebody that takes time to like warm up to people, to trust people, to let their guard down. But with you, it was almost like from the first moment, it felt like picking up with an old friend, just picking right up where you left off, as if, hundreds or thousands of years have passed, and yet here you are still just kind of ready to have that conversation, ready to kind of take that to the next level. So they feel very like safe in your presence, very aligned in your presence. And again, like whatever they're going through right now, things that most other people in their kind of ordinary reality might not get it, might not have those same belief systems, might not support these kind of changes, but they're seeing you as somebody that you're open-minded enough, or you're high vibration enough that you'll kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, or you'd understand, or you're going through something similar, or you'd be able to kind of hold that space to be patient with them while they're figuring things out and kind of going through this process of up-leveling, change, growth, or personal transformation. And there's a sense of seeing you as a partner that aligns with like who they're becoming, rather than somebody that's just an echo of the past. They also say, I'm clearing past life traumas. Yeah, so there's that past life energy, a sense of almost feeling like they want to do whatever they need to do in order to see this connection through to a happily ever after, because there's a sense of like, time has been very generous to us, giving us this opportunity to encounter one another in the here and now, as aware individuals, as awakened individuals, or going through this process of awakening to where we can really look at each other and say, this isn't just, hey, you seem so familiar because you're a reflection of wounds and trauma bonds and, just those familiar karmic patterns, but hey, you seem really familiar to me because you are the representation of the type of person I should be aligned with, that represents kind of an upward shift in the narrative arc. You're the type of person that time has been generous enough to give us this opportunity. Maybe you were two ships in the night in previous lifetimes, or there were things standing between the two of you culturally or actually, that prevented this love story from playing out fully. And so there's a sense of feeling you've almost been gifted a second chance with one another, even if you're meeting for the first time in this life. And that is starting to become more clear to this person, or they're starting to kind of grip that reality or that concept or that theory with more certainty than they had before, than they've been capable of before. And there's a sense of like, I don't want to take that risk or gamble that if we don't see this thing through to the happily ever after in the here and now, I don't want to have to wait 10,000 years before I get another chance with you, or maybe there is no other chance. So they're starting to take things more seriously in terms of whatever's going on in their own kind of like spiritual growth, their spiritual journey, whatever's needing to kind of change in their life in order to make space for this connection in a 3D sense, and kind of linking your lives together with one another, because it doesn't just feel significant in the here and now. It feels like you've traveled a very long way across space and time to have this opportunity with each other in the here and now, which is something they don't want to miss out on. They also say we need some time together. So this is somebody that wants to get you alone, wants to, kind of set the mood away from prying eyes. They're wanting to come through this transitional period that they're going through, anything that may be kind of heavy, anything they're needing to shed or to look at from a different lens. And there's a sense of like, when I feel more grounded in my energy, I want to discuss these things with you. I think that you'd understand. You may be going through something similar, or you've dropped hints, or you've had outright conversations about different beliefs that you have. And there's a sense, again, of like you resonate with an evolved version of them, as opposed to previous connections or other people in their life, which they may even be starting to look at those like, hey, those are karmic connections. There's past life elements there too, but it's the kind of thing where I'm meant to bring that full circle and close out those energetic cords versus with you, it's like I'm meant to kind of enhance those energetic cords. I'm meant to kind of build upon that bond between the two of us. Yeah, and they also say there's a lot that I want to say to you right now. So it feels like this person holds back when they have conversations with you, because a lot of what they're feeling or experiencing are things that may be going on spiritually. It's difficult to talk about. It's difficult to find the words, or they still may be dealing with a bit of like shame or guilt. The idea of a witch wound is coming up as well. Kind of this fear of persecution for, going against the grain, or holding beliefs, or having experiences that are outside the tradition, outside of the norm. And so there's a sense of like they're trying to work up the courage to just own these parts of them, that it may not be accepted by everyone in their life, everyone in their reality, everyone in the world, but there's a sense of like, with you this would make sense. With you there's a space for that. With you there's a reason that I'm feeling these things, or I'm having these experiences. And part of what they may be seeing is kind of your purpose with one another is to help heal that wound, heal that energy of being like vulnerable and seen, maybe not publicly and for all the world to see, but like at least with one another. It's a sense of, it's very empowering for this person to be able to kind of operate in that space of like, yeah, we've got this 3D connection, but it goes so much deeper than that. We also have, you and I are past due and it's time we fix that. Yeah, so this person doesn't want to waste any more time in like taking things to the next level, letting you know that even though they're going through like an up-leveling or a transitional period energetically or spiritually, they're still in alignment with you. They still want this. They still want to experience something more. They become more and more attracted to you the more that you are open and vulnerable about all that you are, which helps them to come into a place of acceptance for all that they are as well. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got A, U, C, M, C, E, F, V, O, A, H, I, G, P, and V. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link for that in the bio. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Bloodstone. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? dreaming of coming together as one. So this person is thinking about the next time that they have the experience to watch you without you knowing that you're being watched. You are this person's favorite work of art. They love to interact with you directly, but they also love watching you just do your thing. You're vibrating really high, or maybe you're in the midst of like working towards something professionally, personally, a passion project that you have going on behind the scenes. And this is somebody that wants to provide you with like silent support for that. I'm hearing that's my baby. So they don't want to like stand in your way. They don't want you to tone it down. They don't want you to just be quiet and demure. They love it when you cause a ruckus, when you speak your truth, when you are very unapologetic. It lights a fire inside this person that makes them feel like, yeah, that's the yin to my yang. That's my other half. That's the person with, the heart of gold and this no nonsense attitude. They love your contradictions. They love everything that they have seen about you in the way that you are very fearless in terms of pursuing your goals, but also the way in which you love and a level of loyalty within you. This is something that they've never experienced in another person. They've never had anyone that sort of directed energies like that towards them. There's a sense that they might at times be kind of asking themselves, like, what did I do to get this lucky? What kind of good deeds did I do in a previous life or even earlier in this life that have caused me to experience good karma in the form of you, in the form of this connection, in the form of the opportunity, not just to have like a warm body next to me or someone to come home to, but somebody that really helps me feel alive inside. They also say separate lives that are running parallel. Yeah, so if the two of you have been, in the midst of kind of crushing your goals, pursuing, things that matter to you or that you've been working on in a long-term sense, personally, and you've needed to kind of take some time apart, or, you've been very busy and there's like just little bits of time you get to spend together. There's a sense of like at the end of the day, it's not just that they are able to relax with you, even just like looking at your pictures or, messages that you send them, or, sort of thinking back on previous experiences. But there's a sense of like, I'm able to kind of be more of myself beyond what the world expects of me, beyond like how I have to perform or the qualities and characteristics I have to embody in order to step fully into my purpose, into what it is that I'm working toward, what it is I'm doing, or what it is that I'm trying to become. There's a sense that they can be their authentic self with you. There's no need to perform. There's no need to hide. You've proven to them that you're here for them when the times are good and when the times are bad, and they really feel that they are well suited to the role or to the responsibilities of what that entails for you as well. This is somebody that it feels like is also kind of looking back at their past and like other missed opportunities or things that had fallen apart, and they're currently in the process of having a lot of gratitude. This isn't like releasing wounds of the past with forgiveness, but more of just disconnecting themselves from being anchored to those past frequencies of disappointment, because there's so much gratitude in the present that things didn't work out with anyone else, because now it's put them in this position to be aligned with you at this time in both of your lives. There's a sense of like, it couldn't have happened any sooner. It couldn't have happened any different. It doesn't even matter that I didn't get what I want in previous circumstances, because I've got everything I have ever really needed in the form of what I have with you. We also have twin flames are mirroring. Yeah, so with this swan, this speaks about the energy of transformation. You have helped this person to look at aspects of themselves that previous partners might have rejected, or they might have thought of as kind of the uglier parts of who they are. They're starting to see that there's purpose with those things. They're able to kind of put their demons on the payroll and really experience kind of some forward momentum. as a person, as an energy, as a soul, in terms of like how they're showing up, even in this loving connection, that you're not just expecting them to always show up, you know, positive and love and light. You've held space for some of their wreckage, some of their shadows, and there's a sense of like it feels natural to do the same thing for you. There's a sense that they are already feeling like a better version of themselves is starting to come to life, or becoming more of a dominant aspect of their personality, and they credit you with that, or this experience. You've given this person the freedom to explore themselves, to grow as an individual, to continue to prioritize their own needs and goals while also showing up within this connection. You're like a breath of fresh air. You're not codependent. You're not needy. You're not kind of like basing your life and your reality and your identity around them or this connection and whatever's going on between the two of you. And so with that, there's almost a sense of like, we can really help one another going forward in this connection to create that best life in the here and now. It doesn't need to be theoretical. It's actual. It's happening. They may think of you as like, you know, the other half of their heart, the other half of their soul. For some, that idea of twin flames is going to resonate. But more than that, it's a sense of like, we're stronger together. We're a power couple. I don't make sense without you. And there's so much about you that I see that makes sense because of how I'm holding that in a loving space. Or is it somebody that wants to help you to overcome certain insecurities, or to get some kind of validation about parts of you that previous people had made you feel were like unlovable or undesirable? It's like, I love you at your mess, and I love you when you are perfect. We also have trust your feelings, not appearances. So it feels like this person is sensing a very strong energetic bond between the two of you. This can be the kind of thing where like they're thinking about you and you reach out to them. Or, you know, something happens in the dream space and then it plays out in reality. They're starting to, you know, look very seriously at the idea of like, okay, there's some telepathy going on. There's something out of the ordinary about this situation. They're looking at that as a tactical advantage in this circumstance. It's not something that frightens them. It's something that it's like, okay, how can we harness this in order to enhance ourselves and our own goals and our own paths as individual, that idea of like those parallel lives, and how can this also be like a secret ingredient, like a quality that people in ordinary relationships, or most people in the world, they don't have this. They don't have this component. They don't have this quality. Yeah, maybe you can kind of like sense or have sympathy or empathy for what a loved one is going through, but this person almost sees that you have like a private line of communication just between your hearts, just between your souls. And there's a sense of they've really felt you times when they're feeling low, or they're going through stress or challenge or struggle. They've felt you energetically kind of gravitating towards them, almost like vibes of love or well-wishing or prayers for success. They're able to decipher that and pick up on that in real time, even if they've not shared that with you. And so there's a sense of like, quietly, they're also kind of sending you that love. They're also starting to respond when they get some kind of spidey sense that something might be off, something like you're stressed, you're upset. And rather than kind of just dismissing that, it's almost like they've started to kind of feed energy, like positive energy, reassurances in your direction. And they may have noticed that that has had an actual effect, like a tangible effect. So it feels like they're opening up to more consciously embracing sort of the higher realm aspects of your situation with one another, and seeing that as something that makes for a very exceptional connection between the two of you, a very otherworldly connection. They also say letting me go was a part of our plan. So this person really loves the fact that you are able to kind of just like live your own life. Your life is not revolving around this connection. You've got your own goals, you've got your own interests. You're okay with this person kind of like tending to things in their life that they need to, or even kind of moving at a pace where things may at times accelerate, and then there could be almost like a slower energy or something where they just kind of pause and they're just sort of soaking in that, they're savoring that experience with you, and there's a sense that this is very refreshing compared to like other partners that they've had, other people that they've dealt with in their life previously, that it feels like, you know, might have tried to kind of derail them from other things, or might have felt very kind of jealous or competitive about like other goals. Something where this person may be almost like married to their job. They may have a very high pressure job, or they're trying to get something off the ground, and there's a sense of they have a lot of gratitude for you as a partner, or you as a person, because you give this person that kind of creative license, that freedom, without needing to explain their comings and goings. There's a lot of trust between the two of you, wordless trust of kind of like, okay, I know you're coming home to me at the end of the day. I know you've got a lot going on, or maybe things you can't talk about, or you know, you need to kind of invest your time and your energy and your focus and your resources toward what you're trying to grow and develop and build for yourself and for us, materially speaking. And so this helps them to kind of see you as somebody that is for their highest good, not somebody that would just be a burden, or, you know, would derail them from their progress or their success in life, but somebody that really adds a measure of value to their reality that money can't buy. They also say spiritual gifts are activating. Yeah, so there's that energy of like telepathy between the two of you increasing, being on the rise. This is something that is very consciously known by this person. For some, they may be getting ready to kind of like talk about that, to address it directly, rather than kind of just playing coy or, you know, avoiding that altogether. They may be getting ready to say, hey, yeah, you know, I sent you that telepathic message the other day and thanks for replying. Or it may just become part of your like dinner table discussions with one another. They're not wanting to like hide that aspect. They're curious about sort of like, are you feeling these things? Are you experiencing these things? What are your thoughts on these things? Because I think that we could harness this and it could give us a competitive advantage in terms of other goals in life, working together as a team, as like a power couple, but also in terms of like helping the two of you have a deeper and lasting appreciation for the uniqueness of your bond with one another, because they're seeing that this component is so different from other people in their life, other romances that they've had with other people, or other experiences that others, even people that have been together like long term, you know, like maybe their parents have been married, stayed together for like 40 years, 50 years, whatever that's like. And it's like, even those energies, even those close connections, they didn't have what the two of you have going on, which helps this person to see this is a unique connection. This is special. This is worth protecting. This is worth cherishing. This is worth strengthening and developing this component of your dynamic. They also say, I will respect you. I will honor you. I will cherish our love. So this is given the energy of like wedding vows. This may be somebody that is considering very seriously asking you to marry them, or they're starting to kind of shift their sights to that idea of like, okay, this works between the two of us in the here and now. It works through these various evolutions that we're going through, or through this kind of period of time where maybe the connection is tested because we've each got our own things we're trying to work on that require our full attention. And so, you know, maybe you're having to rely on that kind of telepathy or that energetic bond to sort of supplement time you would spend with one another, or you know, direct kind of communication. And there's a sense of like, I know I'm not going to have this with anyone else. I'm not going to find this elsewhere. No one could compare to you. And so this is somebody that wants to lock this in. They want to make something official. They want to create like a permanent place in their life and in their heart for you. And they also want to occupy a permanent place in your life and in your heart. Have everything you touch turns to gold. You are pure magic. Yeah, so this person is really impressed with things that you've accomplished or goals that you're working toward, that you almost have tunnel vision about, or you're very determined. You're not easily thwarted. You're somebody that is able to adapt as you need to. You know, you're able to kind of put in what you have to put in order to reach those goals. Maybe you've had to make certain sacrifices. Maybe you even needed to tell this person like, hey, I've got something very important that I'm working on, so I need to be able to maintain that individuality. It can't just be all about this connection. Or, you know, if they were kind of bringing some stress to you or some confusion for a period of time, you might have needed to sort of take a step back so that your rhythm wasn't interrupted. You're somebody they see who prioritizes their peace above all else. And they find this very sexy, very attractive, very much like a key ingredient, like the secret sauce that helps you to stand out from all others that they've had romantic experiences with, and they're seeing you as an exceptional person that you're going to accomplish whatever you set your mind to. I also say, I just can't seem to find the right words to say to you. So this ties more into somebody that wants to either create like a monogamous connection between the two of you, you know, attach titles and labels if you haven't had that, you know, transitional experience yet between the two of you. Somebody that is thinking about, like, where would I propose? What would the ring look like? What would our wedding look like? Would it be a long engagement? Would it be a short engagement? Do I propose and then we kind of run off to the chapel, you know, that same day? Like, what is that going to look like? They don't just want to be somebody that is like, runs the risk of becoming a side character in your narrative. They don't just want something temporary. They don't just want something casual. They don't just want to fling with you. This is somebody that wants to go the distance. They want to be a part of your life in a long-term sense, and they want to invite you in more to be a permanent part of their reality as well. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got U, W, L, S, T, M, N, P, H, C, V, T, and L. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link for that in the bio. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.